What is the most reliable pattern in stocks that you can exploit to make money? And if you're looking for short-term trading or long-term trading, what is the most important pattern? And the most important pattern which I observed and researched over the years is news plays. Whenever there is a news which comes out, the stocks react to that news instantly that day. And you will see this all the time. Like just in last few weeks, you would have seen like stocks like THO, which went up on a news, Abercrombie and Fitch, or Urban Outfitters, or like stocks like yesterday, there was a stock which went up 60% on news, Carvana. Any stock which has a news, and that news is likely to lead to a most reliable pattern that day. That day, at least, the stock is likely to go up or go down based on that news. And this ability to understand news and interpret news can help you a lot. But this particular kind of a trade, which is just a short-term trade, is not really short-term also. If you study long-term trends, or if you study long-term moves in stocks, and you see if you're just a chart pattern kind of a reader, you might say that this is because of a chart pattern. But if you go back and look at where the major move started in a particular stock, you're always going to find that the major move in the stock started with a news. News-led breakouts are the one which have legs basically. Anytime there is a news, pay attention to it. It can be a short-term trade, it can be a long-term trade, and you will see that like if the stock has been neglected, the stock has very low expectations, and it doesn't matter whether it is a news which is like significant in terms of earnings or sales. In many of the stocks which are very neglected, there is a turnaround or potential turnaround, and when there is a potential turnaround, the stock is going to move ahead of the time of actual turnaround, because the actual turnaround is going to take time. The actual turnaround might happen much later. But what the stock does is the stock starts moving based on rumors, the stock starts moving based on some sort of a expectation of a better things. Now, if you want to make money from this, you need a systematic way to look at news. Also, you need to study what kind of news leads to plays. Like in certain categories, like say, especially in two sectors, this is a very clear news phenomena, and one of that sector is biotechnology. If you go back and see all the biotechnology breakouts, big breakouts in biotechnology, they'll be precipitated by a news. And there'll be a news, and then MDGL went up like some 60-70% in next 5-6 days based on a news. Or you'll have like some sort of a news, and the other stock related to that news are all also going to go up. So this is a very common thing in biotechnology stock. You can make a lot of money by tracking news in biotechnology stocks. The kind of news which moves biotechnology stocks is the trial news. If the drug trial is good, or if there is some conference, there are a lot of these conferences where these biotechnology company present their findings, and that can move the stock, or there is an FDA approval or FDA designation change. Those are the things which lead to big moves. Biotechnology moves on news. The other sector which moves on news clearly is technology. You will see stock after stock in technology sectors will move based on news, and this is particularly true of emerging technologies. In a lot of emerging technologies, the stock moves ahead of actual potential real moves or real change in its earnings or sales, and you will see this very clearly. There is another third kind of a stock which moves very big on news, and these are like stocks which have a very attractive story. Human beings are wired to like stories. They like stories, and this is why you will see that whenever a stock has some story, plausible or implausible story, still stock makes a big move. And you will see this in a recent stock AI, where it went up on a news of artificial intelligence. So even though the company's business may not be directly related, or small portion of it might be related to artificial intelligence, it can go up a lot. So story stocks is one category of stocks in the market, which are stocks which have very, like their earnings cannot explain their moves. And these are the stocks, in any year, you will find that there will be 200 or 300 stocks which will make a move based on real earnings, sales. They will have real earning per share growth, they'll have sales growth, but there'll be, for every 300 stocks which make a move like that in a bull market, there'll be at least 10 times more stocks which will be making a move of 80, 90, 100% based on a story. And this is a peculiar phenomena in the market because the market is not based on a rational thinking, right? And people react irrationally. So story stocks is a category of stocks which are the biggest movers in the market. And if you do this research yourself, you should be able to prove this to yourself, that story stocks, or stocks which have some sort of attractive story, are the one which make big moves. And these story stocks tend to dominate in the technology sector and biotechnology sector. Typically, you're not going to find them in industrial stocks, or you're not going to find them in a consumer staples, or you're not going to find in other sectors. So, if you want to make money from this news kind of a phenomena, the two things: one is you can look at a news as a short-term trading pattern, in which immediately that day the stock goes up a lot and immediately reacts. There is another pattern which is like short-term the stock reacts, and then watch the stock how it behaves after that short-term reaction. So the post news, within like 8 to 10 days, the stock, if it doesn't give up the gains from that news and it goes sideways or pulls back, then it can again give you an opportunity to enter second time. Third kind of a setup is just pure story stocks. These are stocks which are pure stories, but in order to do this, you need to be really attuned to the market trends and be paying attention to what is moving the market. There are different themes from different time to time which come in. Beaten down stocks can make big moves. Large short interest stocks can come into play for a couple of months and they can make big moves. Some sort of a new kind of a buzz technology, which is like a social financing, was a buzzword during 2020, 2021, and a lot of stock in that particular sector made a big move. Or crypto, which was a big thing, that those stocks, the crypto mining stocks like Mara, Riot, made one of the biggest moves. Like Mara was one of the biggest winner because of that. So thematic or story stocks are always going to make bigger moves than stocks with earnings and sales. So if you want to profit from a most reliable pattern in the market, that pattern is stocks are going to react to news short term and in the long term. And you can play them both by taking a short term profit on a move and keeping some of it for a longer term move. But this is one of the most reliable pattern for short term traders. And if you do some research on it, you will be convinced yourself that this is the way you can find a lot of big moves in the market.